everyone. I am going to do a little story time video for you. I love story time videos. I really enjoy listening to other people's experiences, and this one is it's a little bit bizarre, but I don't know, maybe some of you guys can relate to it, or you can just at least be like, what the fuck is wrong with people? This one involves somebody that I interacted with from OkCupid. Now, I know that the title of this probably says something like online dating or something. We didn't actually date, we just talked on the phone. But considering I met him through a dating site, I think it's fair enough to quantify this as a dating story. But just a little bit of background before I get into the story. This person and I, we communicated through emails. He seemed pretty intelligent. He told me what he did for work to a point. He said that he was a musician and that he built old school tube guitar amps. These are like the old school, the really heavy ones. And he said that he custom builds them. He also repairs them. And he was very adamant about telling me like how good his ear in terms of his hearing, like his musical ear, and how he had almost, I don't want to say superhuman hearing, but he did say that he could hear in frequencies that other people couldn't hear, and he was a little bit bragging about this. And when people brag a little bit, especially when they're first interacting with people, it's not necessarily a red flag for me, because sometimes people get nervous and sometimes people really want to impress the other person, so they'll just kind of, not necessarily even inflate themselves, but they'll just sort of remind you of certain talents. Now, this is a little bit annoying, but I understand it, because I do understand that some people get nervous and they just want to make a good impression. So when I come across this, I do start to filter some of the things that they're saying and their behaviors, but just being like, okay, I'm really good at something, and saying it like once in a while, or isn't really that big of a deal, because they might just be trying to start a conversation, or they might just be trying to impress you because they like you. So anyway, this guy was like really into this sort of thing, and when we talked on the phone, he told me that he even got hearing tests, and that the audiologist or the technician, or I'm not sure if it was the doctor or whatever, told him that he was able to hear certain frequencies that aren't necessarily what the average human can hear. And he said that he believes that this hearing is what helps him build these amps, and they're really good. Like he said that they were like the best amps. Now, when he started doing that and really started kind of inflating his achievements, that to me was a huge flag, because that was a pretty heavy indicator of narcissistic traits. And my radar to that stuff, like I stay away from that stuff, because I'm just like, okay, so things started to get a little weird. We were, just having a regular conversation. He was asking me a lot of questions about myself. And keep in mind that my profile is very complete. Like, my profile has a lot of information about who I am and my interests. And a lot of the reason, and I even explain this in my profile, is that I don't like a lot of the small talk questions. Like, I don't like a lot of the, so tell me about yourself kind of things. So I just put all that stuff out there more for efficiency than anything, so that I just being asked those kinds of questions, for me, it kind of annoys me, because I just prefer to get to know someone organically. But if people really want this the basic information, like what's your favorite color and stuff like that, I figured I'd just put it out there, get it over with, so that they won't be asking me these questions. So when he started asking me a lot of questions, I'm wondering in my head, well, what more information does he need to know before we actually progress from interacting online, or even from the phone, to actually an in-person meeting? Because this person knows a lot of information about me that would probably take, I would say, about 2 or 3 dates to get all of this information. He already has all this information, and he's asking me for more information. And the way that he's questioning, it's almost like he's trying to get a feel for how my mind works, and that part is okay. but he was just asking a lot of questions and trying to get a lot of information. And for someone who needs that much information, that's also a red flag, because they might be they might be gathering this information to manipulate you with it, or to use it in a way that's not just, I'm genuinely curious about you as a person. I apologize for the lighting. It's natural lighting. Whatever. I don't have a light set up, so just kind of deal with it. Anyway, so we were on the phone. We were talking, and I start hearing the alert beep from when your smoke detector, when the battery's low. It's a very distinct pitch. They all seem to have the same thing. And I was hearing that, throughout the conversation, and about, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes into the conversation or so, I noticed. I was like, yeah, you probably want to change the battery in your smoke detector, because, I can hear it beeping. And his response was really strange. This is where it got really weird. He said, oh, that's interesting that you picked up on that, because that was beeping a few days ago, but it stopped now. But that's funny that you picked up on it. And when he meant picked up on it, he meant that, like, I somehow, like, was psychically connected to it or something. And I'm not saying that I do or do not believe in psychic abilities. That's a whole other conversation. But instead of the logic of his mind saying, okay, well, she's hearing that, maybe it's still going on, he said, it's not going on anymore, it stopped a couple of days ago. And he's like, it's interesting that you picked up on it. And I just said, frankly, like, I wasn't trying to be, and I didn't use any tonality that was condescending or anything. And I said, well, I'm picking up on it because I'm hearing it. I can hear it through the phone. It's happening right now. He got so defensive. I don't remember his exact words, but he was really condescending, and he was like, well, I know what I hear. Trust me, my hearing is perfect, and it's not going on. And he kept trying to convince me that I wasn't hearing the beeping from the smoke detector, instead of even looking at it logically and being like, yeah, it was going off a couple of days ago, it's probably going off now. He was arguing with me, and he was trying to manipulate the situation, basically saying that I wasn't hearing what I was hearing. And I was a little confused at this point, but I was like, well, okay, what's going on here? I kind of figured, like, as I was in it, he's actually doing something that's called gaslighting, and you might want to do a little bit of research if you're not sure what this is, but this is basically a manipulation of the other person's reality. And when I had said that I heard something that he couldn't hear, his actions indicated that actually caused in him a narcissistic injury, which, again, that's something that you're going to want to Google. I'm not going to get into it very much here. But at that point, I had said to him, well, it's probably similar to, at this point, it's an ambient sound that you don't recognize. Like people that live near train tracks or other, types of things, that if you go to visit somebody's house and they live near a train track and the train goes by, it's really loud to you, but to them, they're not fazed by it at all, because it's something that they're so used to that it's just part of, the background noise. Now, when I said that somehow triggered him to hear this sound. And he heard it. He's like, oh, I'm hearing it now. But he still did not admit to me that I had been hearing it all along. He went with the, I don't know how you picked up on that before it happened thing again. What? I mean, are you kidding me? Like, he would not admit to me that I had been hearing it this whole time. And then he started getting into, the fact that it was one of those smoke detectors that is wired into the house, but it also has a battery backup. And he's like, well, I think it's the battery itself. And then he was talking about the battery, and like he was talking about, so he's like, I'm going to get my electric meter and blah, 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 blah. Now, I don't know if the things that he was talking about are actually real and legit, because I don't really know about wiring things and electricity. So I don't know if what he was saying was real or not. He did use the word capacitor. He did say that he thought that the battery was being used as a capacitor, which I'm not sure. Like, I have a general knowledge of what a capacitor is, and I don't know. And then his response was, well, the battery's fine, but there must be something wrong with the wiring, but I don't see how that's possible because I wired it myself. And at that point, I was just like, you know what, I think, I gotta go. I gotta get off of this conversation because this is just too bizarre. And then, we ended the conversation kind of on a decent note. Like, I wasn't like, you're batshit fucking crazy. I just kind of let the conversation die out and just stopped communicating with him at that point. This is something that's really weird and very bizarre, and this is beyond red flag. Like, this is a run for the fucking hills if somebody ever does anything like this to you, because not only was he took it so personally when I could hear it and he couldn't, and I was not insulting him at all. I was just like, I can hear the beeping of the smoke detector through the phone. Like, that was it. I wasn't like, well, my hearing is better than yours and I can hear it and you can't hear it, so you must be stupid. I was just like, I'm hearing it, so you want to change your battery, because that's really kind of annoying, and I don't know how he couldn't hear that. I also kind of, at this point, I'm doubting a little bit of his hearing in general, and I definitely would not be buying any type of musical equipment from him at all. So that's my story time. This is more of a I dodged a bullet story time, because if he's engaging in this type of manipulative behavior this often in our interactions, I can only imagine what he's like in person. It's actually really kind of frightening. So anyway, if you've had any really bizarre dating experiences, maybe you can relate to this. And if you see any type of behavior that is anything close to this, please, please, please just cut your losses and run, because this is not healthy, and there's so many reasons that I'm not going to get into this video as to why this is a big thing. I mean, it's funny. It's kind of a funny story. I told my friends about it. We all laughed about it. We call this guy Audio God now. But it really is a serious issue. So I hope you enjoyed this story, and good luck to you out there in your lives and in your dating lives, or whatever it is that you do. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and thanks for watching this video. Bye.